Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
I think Bill Gates, when he came to India, famously said that only a very small percentage, I don't even want to quote that number right now, but only a very small percentage of our graduates are actually employable.
Hi guys, welcome to a very special episode of Conversations in Quarantine. We've got someone with a wealth of experience with us. He's not just been in a B school, he's also worked with a lot of business school students. He's also run strategy for a variety of very interesting businesses, and he also teaches on B school campuses today. So I would like to welcome Mr. Sidharth Balakrishna to the call. Thanks Sidharth for doing this with us. Sidharth, to begin with, this is the question on everybody's mind, right? We are entering a very different kind of a phase in the history of this world itself, and it means that the students are also entering a very different kind of a job market. So what does this job market look like today?
First of all, I'd like to say that the job market of the future is going to be very different from what we have seen traditionally. In the sense, first of all, that earlier, most of us were hoping for long careers with one organization and typically in a role where we would gradually, kind of grow within that role. But the job market of the future is going to be a fusion of management plus technology. And I say that because we will find a lot of mundane, repetitive jobs being taken by actually algorithms or by computers. Key skill that the job market would therefore need is for us to be analytical, to be able to ask the right questions, to find the right answers, and be able to be very good at decision making. The job market of the future is going to be one of flexibility and adaptability, in which people have to move with the times and really pick up the skills which are required for the job, while working, as well as having a kind of mindset to be continuously learning new things and being able to pick up new technologies and new skills.
So Siddharth, you mentioned how technology needs to marry with management, and that seems to be one of the bigger themes of what we've come to call Industry 4.0. Can you give me a basic overview of what are the various aspects of Industry 4.0 the way you see it?
So one of the core aspects of Industry 4.0 is the usage of artificial intelligence. Now, the term artificial intelligence itself was coined way back in 1956. And, throughout the, let's say, 70s, 80s and 90s, we saw a little bit of usage of AI. But it is becoming far more pervasive, let's say, industry friendly now. So that is one kind of key aspect. The second part is the industrial Internet of Things, which means that we are seeing a lot of connected devices, a lot of sensors, a lot of real-time collaboration between machines. And that happens because machines are able to upload data directly to the cloud, and that data can be used by other machines directly without any human intervention. Then we have advanced robotics. When we talk about advanced robotics, this means, for example, cobots. Cobots means collaborative robots, which means that robots are going to work together with human beings on the factory floor. They are going to be used in our houses.
Amazon Roombas that seem to be dancing all around the house and cleaning up your house. So we are already on our way to getting into those robots cleaning our houses, right?
Yes, absolutely. So, so that's going to be a part of our future over the next decade. The fourth aspect, just to continue, is that of wearable technologies. Again, wearable technologies has been used in the past, particularly in pilot training. So all pilots are trained on simulators. As I said, what we are seeing is the conversion of all these technologies, the fusion of these technologies. And I think one, let's say, device or one application which really illustrates this fusion is, of course, driverless vehicles, where you have a mix of artificial intelligence, where you have a mix of robotics, where you have a mix of aspects of AI like facial recognition, pattern recognition. That is what really Industry 4.0 is all about.
Siddharth, if this is the future, then what is the future of management as a profession then?
Any of you reading HBR articles will see that there is a lot of new articles on new technologies, digital transformations, artificial intelligence in the recent times. What it said is that AI, artificial intelligence, is not going to replace human managers, but it said human managers who use AI will replace those human managers who don't. So the core aspect for managers is how you are going to leverage technology to make better decisions. But for a person who is just beginning his career, like most of students will be, using technology to take these kind of decisions is really going to be extremely crucial.
But with this in context, Sidharth, what are some of the skills that I as a student right now need to develop in myself to be ready for this world that I'm entering?
So I think the core focus of a management program today, and the key skill, let's say, required to succeed in the corporate world is very much what I call the analytical ability, and related to that, decision-making skills. Let's say one core decision for every company is, let's say, where to invest. So again, if I was to decide a location to set up my next manufacturing unit, let's say whether it is Gujarat or whether it is Telangana or whether it is Delhi, there are various parameters that one needs to look at, which could be availability of land, availability of labor, cost of land, availability of power, uninterrupted power, tax rates, so on and so forth, right? So as I said, having analyzed all these parameters, you then make a decision that, okay, let's say maybe Telangana is the best place to invest, or maybe it's Gujarat or Maharashtra, wherever it is. So what is going to be required is not gathering information. It is about using information to make decisions. And that is what really analysis is all about. Also being able to understand future implications of decisions that you take today. That is a core analytical ability. If I do something today, what is the result of this, after 3 months? What is the result after 3 years? What is the result after even 20 years? So that is, I would say, something which students need to be trained in. And that is where a lot of practical exposure is needed. That is where case studies are useful for students to become better at understanding and analyzing various aspects.
I'm not sure if our current business curriculum prepares students for this kind of skills or these kinds of roles of the future. So what is your view on that?
I think Bill Gates, when he came to India, famously said that only a very small percentage, I don't even want to quote that number right now, but only a very small percentage of our graduates are actually employable, right? So that is a very real issue. And I think the way it needs to be addressed definitely is through far more practical exposure of students, through far more learning from actual practitioners, because the learning that actual practitioners bring is learning from the real world, is also contemporary and relevant kind of learning, because very often what your textbook says is really about learnings which have been gathered over the last 30-40 years, but the world has considerably changed over the last decade, and it will considerably change in the next decade.
Sidharth, you've also started teaching, and clearly you're an industry practitioner, and that is why you believe very strongly that industry practitioners should come more and more to teach in business schools. You teach at business schools. What are some of the things that you use to structure your course in such a way that it delivers on all these promises that you talk about?
Most of the MBA institutes are actually realizing that, let's say, getting industry professionals is the way to go. Of course, mixed with a good academic grounding and high profile, or let's say academics who do deep research. So it's really a mixture of both, which would help students. So first of all, there are, let's say, certain guiding, let's say, principles or guiding aspects of the topic, which I feel students definitely need to know about, because that is what really is going to help them succeed in a cross-industry perspective. So let us talk about technology. Now, technology can be used in all industries, whether it is logistics or retail or banking, so on and so forth. So there are certain aspects of technology, and particularly the pillars of Industry 4.0, which I spoke about earlier, which are cross-industry. And I kind of deep dive into each of those aspects and make sure students are well versed with that. The second part of my course is always on case studies and and also projects in which students get to have a real world feel on what has been the experience of companies that have actually applied these technologies, where they have succeeded, and where they have faced difficulties and not been, maybe not been so successful. That is very crucial. The third aspect, I think, is also to encourage students to think about what the future is going to be. So where else can these technologies be applied successfully? So, for example, if the goal of, let's say, all application of technology, particularly for management, is, let's say, either to improve productivity or to improve quality or to reduce time and the wastage of resources. So, keeping, let's say, these aspects in mind, how can technology be applied, with these end goals? And I ask students that individually they pick up a particular industry or a particular company and see how technology in management can make a difference. And also I try to link them to a relevant industry mentor who can perhaps guide them through such aspects.
Sidharth, now a word for our sponsors. Masters Union has got us in touch with you, and that is why we are having this conversation. It's a very different kind of a business school. What were the reasons why you chose to teach at Masters Union?
So I think when Masters Union contacted me, I in the initial discussions itself, I felt that this was a great idea whose time had come for two reasons. One is they stressed on the role of technology and management, and I increasingly feel that this fusion is extremely crucial for students to succeed, because as I said, students who are cut off from the application of technology are really going to be dinosaurs even before they enter the job market. The second aspect which Masters Union pointed out is the level of industry connect through the faculty who are mostly industry practitioners, and the mentorship that they that they have kind of arranged for students. And I think that is extremely crucial for students. Many of them are entering into a very, very different world from what they have seen earlier. It really requires a lot of skill to navigate through this, and both let's say getting to hear it from the experts, people who have done this before in industry, succeeded or failed, or both in some occasions like me, because sometimes what I do works, sometimes what I do does not work, but I learn from both. And I think being for industry practitioners to share this with students and give them some insights is really what the business school of the future would be. And I think definitely Masters Union has gone a long way in terms of bridging some of the difficulties that we face in India with respect to education. And I think that this institute will be a beacon for others to follow, because I expect a lot more institutes will be in future based on this model, because this is really, as I said, the way that education will evolve in the country.
All right, Sidharth, that was a very rich conversation with a lot of insights and a lot of crystal ball gazing into the future. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for providing us with so many rich insights.
Thanks a lot.